Greetings, everybody, and welcome to episode 69 of the Sitcast, aka the Siblings in Cardboard podcast. I'm your host, Noah, feeling absolutely fabulous today because the Eagles won the Super Bowl, but nobody probably cares but me, but that's okay. I mean, just in terms of the card world. And I'm joined by my buddy slash co-host, missing Justin, of course, but we love you, Justin, Thomas, and Donnie. Whether you're a veteran card gamer or a first timer just testing the waters, we're all siblings in cardboard. And guys, how have things been? How was the weekend?
I mean,
I don't think either of you watched the Super Bowl.
I did watch the Super Bowl.
Yes.
It's just like at some point this isn't competitive, and I left.
It really wasn't. It was a beatdown.
I have no interest in sports whatsoever. If I ever pay attention to the Super Bowl, it is strictly for the commercials.
Most people.
I couldn't even tell you who actually played until somebody started talking about Taylor Swift and the Chiefs.
Yeah.
Question mark.
I mean,
that's about all I know.
There you go. You got the gist.
That's good enough. That's the gist.
Yeah, but as far as the rest of my weekend and everything goes, I actually managed to do a little bit of relaxing on Sunday. I had been, all of last month I was busting my butt trying to get through that final class, and I managed to get through the class, and I got my final grades today. Managed to keep my 4.0, so I'm really excited about that. And hopefully I'll hear from academic advising soon because I have completed enough credit hours to have completed my associates. So I should have that piece of paper coming in the mail before much longer. But last weekend I started my math class, and now the first week was just review, and it was so super simple compared to the previous month's work that I actually got everything done early on Saturday, was able to relax, and then I could just veg. I managed to have a day off. I actually managed to have a day off after I finished working on Sunday. So it was nice getting to relax and recharge a little bit because I lost so much sleep last month. It's not even funny.
So I had I have a good story time, even though it was just for an RTN. I went up to North Augusta, which is like just north of Augusta. It's in South Carolina. To Express TCG to play an RTN. And I wasn't sure what I was going to take until about 3 or 4 days before the RTN was going to come up. So it's basically just after we did our podcast. Andrew Lorenz, local final boss, posted a random Florian list and said, "I think I'm cooking too hard." And I said, that is a deck. Not a good one, but it is a deck. And immediately felt kind of bad to just like call a deck bad without even really playing it. And I played it, and it's kind of working. I'm like, you know what? I'm going to take this to RTN. So I decided to take it to RTN, and I'm literally sitting at the RTN thinking Riptide or Florian. Because I've got this like really weird Florian deck, or this really consistent Riptide deck that I've been playing for weeks and weeks. And Andrew Cook comes up to me and he's like, "I'm going to flip a coin." And he flips a coin, and it's Florian. I'm like, all right, let's do it. And I literally finished sleeving it up about 30 seconds before they call round one. So this deck is weird because Andrew Lorenz calls it Direct TV Florian, because it basically revolves around, unless you're bringing in the mid-range stuff, around Channel Mount Heroic, including running the new head jab, the new generic head jab that just came out, Outed, which is a no block, 0 cost, 3 go again. You can't play it if you're marked, but it's generic, which means it gets +3 and go again.
Under CMH. Okay.
Yep. The original list was also running Overload, a really terrible card from Monarch. That's the 2 block, 0 cost, 3 attack. Dominate has go again if it hits. Card is pretty bad unless you're running things like Bramble Spark and Channel Mount Heroic. We turned the heat down a little bit. I put in Summersfall Red instead because I was like, I don't want to just lose to Viscerai. I want a chance. If I could bottom the Malefics, I could probably beat Viscerai with this deck. What's funny is I didn't face any Viscerais, but man, Summersfall really messed up some Prisms. I 40-0'd a Prism.
Whoa.
Yeah, it was pretty bad. I was playing against an Enigma, and I dropped Channel Mount Heroic and then threw a 6 into a 7. And then the next turn I did make a rune chant into 6 into 6 into 7 into 3.
Ooh.
No, 6 into 6 into 6 into 3. And he said, "Man, I sideboarded wrong." So this is like the first experience I've had where people were coming up with their phone asking to take a picture of my deck list once I hit top 8. And it was funny going through it. And Andrew, for some reason, didn't have the balls to play it. He played some really like safe Florian list. He did okay. But he's there and he's like reporting in Discord. He's like, "This crap is 2-1. Or 2-0. This crap is 3-0. This crap is 4-0. So I'm just crushing people. So I don't lose a game until I face Bradshaw on Azalea in the last round of Swiss. Drop a game to him. Then I face Jose in round 1, and he's on Syndra. And by the way, I don't think it's possible for Florian to lose to Syndra, or Redline Syndra at least. I don't want to get too in depth on the math, but like, if you think about how they like flick a dagger every turn and they have one more head jab that they would throw, like you have that, except it's just 1 blue and it's a rune chant and you swing your sword, right? So as soon as you start throwing felling the crowns, they just fold. But anyway, so I beat Jose on Syndra to get top 4, which got me my Nats invite, and then I got a rematch against Andrew Cook. I beat him up in Swiss, and he came back and beat me in top 4. So Florian ended up winning the RTN, and
It's not your Florian.
no, just not my Florian. But I still got the ego trip of him coming up to me and being like, "Can I take a picture of your list?" I'm like, "You can have my list, man. You won the whole RTN. Like, just take it with you." So that was pretty cool. I had a good weekend. Good Flesh and Blood weekend.
Nice.
No,
I mean, I opened up Pokemon cards and Flesh and Blood cards. Oh yeah, no, we did do some Flesh and Blood stuff this weekend. Boy, it's always really a grind, but just trying to remember it all. Sundays are back open though. Football's gone, so we're gonna be on Armory on Sundays, which is really nice because I've been itching to play, and I don't have any other things that could possibly infringe on it. So it's nice. It's also a 3-day weekend this weekend, so it's like perfect timing to go on a Sunday and just play some Flesh and Blood and potentially lose or win. I don't know. And what deck? Who knows at this point?
you got some new shiny cardboard this weekend too, didn't you? Because I gave you a whole bunch of stuff for some booster boxes and a couple things I needed for Syndra.
We opened up some cards on Friday. The whole sibling gang was there actually, so it was really cool. We were hanging out in the Card Guys Discord. It was really fun. I mean, just a good time. Shoot the shit, open up cards. Great time. I mean, I was having a blast. Pulls could have been monumental, but I mean, they also could have been worse. So I take it with a grain. I'm not too unhappy with it. I thought getting like the cards, the product, opening it was really fun. We had 3 legendaries, I think, in the 2 cases we opened. One of them being the extended art. 2 shelters, some decent value. So nothing, I would say, insane. No marvels, although I still have 2 boxes, so who knows. But I thought it was good. I mean, most of the Majestics in the set have some good value, so felt good. Felt good.
I think we can call that a playable case instead of a god case. You got a playable case. You got a bunch of playable Majestics and some other.
You didn't lose
good
it.
value,
I don't think you lost any money.
Oh
No, I don't think so at all. I think that it was a good, just a good opening all around. We'll know what the last 2 boxes have eventually once we do them on the content, so, 1 pack at a time.
Like half of the case that I got from you, I made $260, and I didn't even count up all the M's.
Oh,
wow!
So well, stay tuned because maybe that's just the God case. Okay, don't worry. We have 24 packs or 48 days or something like that to open those up. So they'll be next after Dusk Till Dawn.
Yeah, he's gonna make us wait to see if that last case was good.
I've been thinking about splicing together like 5 or 6 pack cracks. Okay, just to kind of like keep the pace going a little bit. We'll figure it out. I was thinking about kind of doing something a little different than the once a day, just to get that real instant gratification of seeing a lot of cardboard get ripped. But we'll need some editing skills to do that. Not much.
No, do you follow a channel at all called I think it's called Short Pocket Monsters?
I don't. If I do, I don't know that I do.
So
we'll put it that way. My YouTube algorithm is insane, and it leaks over to our podcast. And I apologize.
He has a popular series called "Should I Open It or Should I Keep It Sealed?"
Oh, okay. I know exactly what you're talking about because he has that little jingle. Should I open it or should I keep it sealed? Yeah.
Oh no, you should have kept it sealed. Well, I'm gonna help you segue because I feel like there's like a new set of Flesh and Blood that has entered the consider keeping it sealed territory.
So it's weird because I actually think that this is the opposite right now. So I think this is actually part of the problem.
I'm not talking about Hunted. I'm talking about another set.
Oh yeah, never mind. Yeah, you are right.
Click.
You should
there
keep
it
that
is.
set.
There's the light bulb.
Yeah, my bad. All right, so let's jump into the market minute because there's some wild things we need to talk about. I think one of the things we really need to talk about is kind of the state of the FAB boxes and certain sets, I should say. Rudy made a video about 5 days ago. We can reference it. We can link it in the comments. We can do something with it. You can find it. It's called What Happened to Flesh and Blood. Now, whether this has something to do with it or not, it's a direct correlation is kind of, I'm not going to speculate one way or another, but I think FAB and in certain cases and in certain boxes have really hit this sort of weird time frame where now you actually have to think about whether you should be buying these up to actually hold, because let's try and tie it together. Flesh and Blood is a playable competitive game, and it's driven specifically by the playability of the cards.
Yes.
But it's also a card game, so it also has a limited print run. It also isn't being actively reprinted, and it also is kind of just dumped out there. So it kind of just depends where it ends up. Sometimes you'll see your local game store has a lot of a certain thing and not a lot of another thing. And so it feels a little weird allocation wise in places. It feels a little weird as to, is somebody hoarding it all? Rudy will tell you that there's really no big investor or investors in a sense, hoarding an immense amount of sealed Flesh and Blood product. I'm sure there are some small time. I'm sure there are people that have tons of liquid stock. I'm sure of it. Do I think it's the levels of Pokemon and Magic? No, because there's just more liquidity in that. And he talked about that. There's just more sales. So there's more of a reason there's way more of a hype. Flesh and Blood's an ebb and flow game. It's been one of those, you just got to get rid of it. It's not worth keeping it sealed. But now it's like revisiting. You're like, well, wait a minute. What happens when all these cards from these older sets continue to get playable or keep playable or become playable, or after 5-10 years, a hero comes out and uses a card back in a set, and you're like, well, that set's gone. That's a bygone era. So there is this sort of weird present that continues to talk to the past that has kept boxes and has driven box prices and case prices through the roof. He calls it FAB 2.0. He puts it after Uprising. I would agree. I think Uprising and before is probably a hard to come by era. So if you didn't already have Crucible somewhere, which I don't think there's enough of it to hoard, to be quite honest. And mark me, I think Crucible is criminally undervalued because those cards will become just as scarce, just as alpha, just as ridiculous as WTR and Arcane Rising if they don't do anything to cut that first early part of the sets out. If those cards continue to stay in play, there's no way that Crucible doesn't hit 1,500 a box like Arcane Rising does at some point if those cards continue to. It's a first edition unlimited mix, but I think that there is still a alpha market for that type of growth. Maybe not that high, but it will definitely go higher than what it currently is. And we're seeing that in a set like Dynasty. And you guys know it's my favorite set. And I've opened up probably so much Dynasty that I never even thought about it. And I was like, it's just every time on eBay there's another box set case of Dynasty, and I just, I'll try and get it. I wasn't ever worried about it. Well, I don't know if anybody has done this recently, but do me a favor, go to TCG Player, type in Dynasty, and look at what a booster case looks like. Just look at the amount that's up there. Tell me.
I think if I had a sealed case or a sealed box, I would probably put in a protector and not open it.
You tell me what's going on with a case of Dynasty sitting at $554, which it did go down, mind you. It was at that $800 range. Now people are like, nah, there's no way it'll sell for this. But look at the sales. 500, 579. People consistently buying it out all through Christmas, beginning of January. But we're also not like, oh, there's one guy who bought like 400K. Just isn't that many cases. There just isn't enough Dynasty at all. And so since everybody kind of picks these cards up, I played the hero, okay, I go away. If they're not kind of fulfilling the market like this circle, because these cards get played, then they go on the back burner. If they're not ever recirculating, well, the next time these cards become relevant, if you don't have them, now you gotta compete with a set that's potentially $800 a case.
Cards like this one.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, cards like Leave No Witness, and so
And swing big.
It's Everfest.
Holtzwave
I'll swing
Harpoon.
big.
Swing.
Holtzwave Harpoon.
Holtzwave Harpoon.
Construct Nitro Mechanoid. If that stays relevant. Marvel Crouching Tigers. Marvel of the other things. Hanabi Blaster.
Some of the Crouching Tiger cards. Yep.
Everybody's favorite Marvel Rock.
Surgical Extraction, even though that did get a limited reprint.
At least you guys can find that one. But I no longer feel safe at all being able to walk around and find Dynasty readily. And it actually kind of scares me. Not that I really need anything out of it. I mean, I do. I want Marvel Emperor. But it's just another sign that this is going to be a problem. Maybe not like an intended problem, but this is going to be a problem. I mean, it will get solved and remedied in some sense with reprints potentially, and or Whiteboarder 2.0 History Pack 2. I mean, like, there's potentiality to kind of fix this if they want. In the inner period, though, if Dynasty becomes a set that is extremely pulled out of, I mean, those cards are going to go bonkers. Like, Leave No Witnesses potentially, if it was as played and as popular, and it is. But, I mean, if this continues, and that's $30, $40, $50 card, easy. I think there's enough classes that kind of sit eye to eye where you don't need to kind of fully, give yourself, but we're not going to have just these assassins, or like there'll be other assassins. So what are you going to do when Leave No Witness has to come back around again or again or again? And so it has created this sort of weird look on it. And we're kind of seeing it with Hunted as well. The hype has been so insane, and the cost has been actually so high for some of these Majestics and these chases that, yeah, the Majestics kind of sit in an okay value-wise, but then the extended arts just blow through the roof. And so those who are collecting have something to chase. Those who want playables have playables. Rudy even says this, if you were an LGS sitting on the Hunted, why would you sell it sealed? Why you just break it open.
Yeah.
Sell the singles.
Mm-hmm.
It's one, people usually buy singles in FAB, so you're technically playing into what's happening anyway. But two, they're driven by a playable market, and most cards out of 100 right now are extremely playable. So they're actually in their rise right now. They're finding their peak as we speak. Not to rhyme, but
from like the
general.
In general, from what I've seen, if everyone busted every box of Hunted they ever got and immediately sold all the singles, they would make money off of it. Like, you'd literally just be printing money off your boxes in general.
Yeah.
It's definitely something to think about. This doesn't mean you should run around and hoard all the cards you could possibly find, but I want you guys to understand that there are a finite amount of these cards, and just like everybody I think keeps hinting on with Dusk Till Dawn, and I know Rudy's got like 4,000 billion cases of Monarch, poor guy, but I'm sure he's got some Dusk Till Dawn hidden because the whole artist thing, that is going to hit a whole new Willy Wonka level. When people go, wait, Dusk Till Dawn's just nowhere, and there's still artist cards, and then here comes the Willy Wonka hunt, because like it will happen. And so, am I telling you to hoard Dusk Till Dawn? Maybe. But again, it's a tough catch-22. You're in it for the long haul. You can't really open it, or can you? It really just depends on what's playable in the market. And so it's something to kind of watch this tide as we move into this new era, whether or not we're going to see high seas be so popular as hunted and have this weird, which spoiler alert, but we get there, and have it be like not an allocation problem, but oh no, we saw what happened with hunted, so everybody that usually buys 40 cases should buy 150. Do you know what I mean? So we're going to start seeing this I better before actions happening, and it's actually going to cause the same kind of issues throughout and throughout. So if they don't want to overprint.
They actually talked about it, and they just released Brian and James will get on and they'll do their talk. They actually talked about it, that they changed their policy with the hunted, and they said, hey, at pre-release, we're going to send you an extra case per allocated pre-release package, and you can do whatever you want with it. You can get out as prizing, you can sell it, you can let people do drafts with it, you can do more sealed runs, you could do another pre-release. And then they said that policy was actually extremely popular, especially considering there was a calling on the week, a double calling with a battle hardened classic constructed and a calling classic constructed on the weekend of release. That with the next set, high seas, that they're just going to say double it. Like, we'll send you 2 cases, and we're going to actively encourage you to maybe do a pre-release on Friday and a pre-release on Saturday, or do a pre-release on Friday, and knowing that US Nationals is literally the next 2 weeks away, run drafts all throughout the week. Your players will come in, draft your product, buys drinks, support the LGS, because we're going to want to practice for US Nats and stuff like that. Mm-hmm. So I think this is a really great policy, and it does make me feel better, because I'm not totally against the brand new fresh set going into a big competition. I think it's kind of fun as long as the product's available, because
that's the issue,
dude. We talked about it last episode. The prices at Calling Memphis were obscene. They were just nuts to try to get quick dodge flexors and shelter from the storm. And if you were trying to play Syndra, Mario, Slippy, that first weekend, the prices were just wild. But I'm for it. I like what they did with the hunted. They did a great job with the set, with the allocation, with the release of it, with everything.
I think they could have turned the dial up just a little bit more as far as getting product out there, but yeah, it's been a banger of a set so far, and we're still right here at the very forefront of it.
So, I just want to see more product.
Before the
not
episode,
too much.
though, I don't want to get too far off the Dynasty topic. You promised me a price point on the card that I wanted to know what happened to it.
Okay. So we could start with that. So Dynasty has kind of shot up. In fact, it's hilarious. It is. I'm actively in a bid war over a case of Dynasty, which is technically slightly more expensive than the one on TCG Player. But when you're in a bid war on eBay, it's more like I want it now, and so you just pay extra. It's really silly. It works both ways. Sometimes you get it, Liz. Sometimes you say absolutely not. You can't have it. I want it, because we don't know if that's the special case, the final case, the one case that has my Emperor. That's Marvel. But the other card that comes out of there is the Command and Conquer Marvel. I don't think this Dynasty thing has come unnoticed. I didn't see this coming. This is definitely a, oh my God, these are going to be so hard to find type reaction, but they're gone. So at 800, they're gone. At 900, they're gone. At 1,000, they're gone. They are 1,700 a piece right now on TCG Player. That is the lowest value. I am proud to own a playset. I will probably never trade them.
1,700 per card?
And I will continue to hold them as if they are a Moon Brionne or a Sun Brionne. And if you open up Pokemon, you know what that is. But I will continue to, because I don't think that these are going to be readily available given
Holy
what's
crap.
going on with Dynasty.
I don't think you actually said the name of the card.
Oh, Command and Conquer. Marvel.
Okay.
Fable.
What?
Whatever you want to. It's weird. I think it's the Fable.
The
I don't
low
it's,
sell 3-month snapshot is 800. The high sell is 1,000. This had a 70% to 80% increase. Thanks a lot, Rudy.
Yeah, pretty much. Thanks, Rudy.
This is a where's everybody's Dynasty going? And basically, if I was Rudy, I would have some Dynasty in a dark corner of my FAB collection too, and I would be setting that aside for a rainy day.
By the way,
Didn't he
those
say
are
he doesn't
hitting
have any
like
Dynasty?
Pokemon card level rarity
He doesn't
and
have any
prices.
Dynasty. Yeah, they are Pokemon card rarity. He actually does, according to him, and I'll take him at face value. He does not have any Dynasty.
Like a PSA 10 of this card would be what, like 3,000, maybe more.
So it's weird. It should be higher, but Flesh and Blood doesn't care about collectability. I don't
know.
I don't want to.
These are a little different. Even though you have to put Command and Conquer into your deck, some of these cards that are such a high level of rarity that I think they might be worth grading.
I think they're definitely a card that's worth grading because I wouldn't play them. I just Flesh and Blood is a playable game before it's a collectible game, and I think that it just slightly is reversed with like Pokemon, which I think Pokemon is a nostalgia and collectible before it is a playable game. Not that people don't play it. Don't jump on and attack me. I know the card game's super fun. People are playing the video version of it on the phone. I mean, it's very simple in a way, but it's also kind of got like a little back and forth. I get it, but people are collecting it. Actually, majority of people right now are probably just price gouging with it, but that's because it's just such an infernal crazy market. But we're just experiencing kind of a lot of things. You know what we say, it's new players, but now Rudy did leak a stat that he said that there was a good 19 or 20% that bought from him that have never bought from him before.
Yep.
Ever.
I can totally believe that.
And
Yeah,
so
for sure.
we've seen a lot of Magic players. We've seen a lot of, hey, I want to try this. We've seen a lot of this going on, and we've seen that these newer sets have ready power to enter and be meta defined decks. Like, I mean, we can talk about Syndra, but I mean, we've seen it that these decks usually come in, and as Donnie has alluded to, potentially foil the previous set and sort of like not a counter, but we're adding some more to the mix that may or may not sit right with those MST heroes. And so, sure.
Miss Mel obviously slapped.
Yeah.
Rosetta slapped a little less hard, but I mean, it made Viserai big. Aurora's still winning lots of games. The other heroes are fine. Verdant's apparently good. Like,
right.
Yeah,
right.
go figure.
And we're going to talk about that because Verdance has had a top 8 showing it at the last 3 major events.
a little bit more than top 8.
That's true. We'll get there. But it just goes to show that the new player is being targeted heavily. The new, hey, jump in. This set is actually going to be meta ready. And so I know we took up a lot of time on the market minute for that, but that's more related to, I think, the health of the market. I think you guys all around need to sit back and kind of look at your card values in the long term. Obviously, they have a short-term move, but always take the advice of if something's hot right now and scaling, oh, yes, I know, and I'm the one too, you could sit on it. It's going to ebb and flow. And so you need to get your cards early when you can. You need to let your cards go that aren't being, that you're not using when they're high, and you kind of need to kind of shift your value back and forth that way. Or you're going to end up, potentially buying $90, $100 warmongers at some point. You know what I mean? Like, Dust Till Dawn is not always going to be readily available. Please let me make this clear. But warmongers is going nowhere. Okay? So, like, it's going to be a card that is ever going to be up there. Like, if you're sitting there going, it'll come back down. Yeah, maybe a little when it's off meta, but not that much.
Viserai is getting close to LL, and so is Azalea.
We're going to have a whole new set of potential rangers and action users in sets to come, as well as just this next set. We need to talk about a card before we can go into all sorts of other things, including the whole mistriggers thing and whatever. We need to at least draw attention to a couple of things. I'll just speed through this. So if you want a kunai of retribution, which is Syndra's weapon on the gem pack, good luck. They're like $150 a piece right now. Ooh. But if you hit them, Merry Christmas. You just, you saved Santa Claus. Silver palms for some reason are going up. Couldn't tell you why, but they are. It went up from 10 to 15 up to now $30. So, hey, silver palm away. Brave Forge bracers
speculation
slightly going up. $40-ish right now. So I think Brave Forge has kind of come back into the mix a little bit. I think they're the quintessential warrior arm pieces. Do I think they go crazy? Probably not, but just be on the lookout. Normal glint has hit $10, which is crazy because it was about $4 2 weeks ago. So normal glint kind of pushing the upper echelon of $15-20 where the rainbow foils are means warriors on the radar. The big one, technically the big three, Trench of the Sunken Treasure, 100% speculation, obviously, because Pirates trench coat, I get it. We'll see. I think there's talks more of like another Ranger, whatever it potentially is. We do need another Ranger. So, guys, Ranger cards are about to go through the roof. You're remorseless, your Rain Razors, trust me, Rain Razors. It's going to astronomical prices on Rain Razors.
I need to buy one more. I think I only have 2.
Okay, and pre-meds, but we'll have to see what happens with the Guardian Mastery to see if, we'll see. But cards are about to go through the roof. Trench is at 185 for the extended, going on 220, completely speculated. Normal Trench is $42 rainbow foils selling. Yes,
what?
Normal Trench is at $40 and selling.
My Trench is Sunken Treasure? My legendary that's like $10 that I've just loved for forever.
4 times that value now, instantaneously.
Is New Horizon going up? It's got to be, right? If Trench is going up, New Horizon's going up. Like,
I hope people jumped on New Horizons when we mentioned it before.
Well, wouldn't you know?
Oh man, I hope.
It's $115 for the cold foil, and because Unlimited is harder to find than first edition, the rainbow foils are $120.
It's so funny.
Wow.
I don't even know why you'd want the rainbow foil. The cold foil's just gorgeous. Like,
it's pretty.
It's the print allocation, so people can go, well, mine's shorter printed. There's always has to be a why did I buy this because of X.
Mine prinkles more than yours. Like,
look. I take cold foils all day because the shine is just right on.
It's immaculate.
But I can understand it. Light of Soul apparently is going up. Don't know why. 110 for the rainbow foils.
Prism is getting better. The meta is shifting.
We don't need Prism to get any good.
And when Viscera goes, Prism
too bad
gets
she
way
is.
better.
I don't want a world where Prism's good. It's gonna be a cold, dark world. And our Shelter from the Storm Watch is at $80 right now. So congratulations, those are still $80 Majestics. If you're pulling Shelter for the Storms, they're practically paying for almost the box. It's about $110, $120 a box right now. Welcome to Flesh and Blood.
That might be the fastest market minute we've ever done.
I gotta tell you,
as far as actual cards go,
with the Rudy stuff, but.
My first box that you gave me, Noah, I was opening, I'm like, this is bad. I had like 2 M's, and I got to like the bottom like 6 packs, and I popped the Shelter. I'm like, we saved it. We saved the box.
Why is this guy fighting me on this? Sorry. We're in a big war for outsiders too. It's a tough world we live in. But I'll let you know if I win them or lose them.
So we spoke about RTNs. Yeah, RTN season is here. The classic constructed wins are already in, and guess who's on top?
Zen.
Not even close. Like,
no, not even remotely close.
It's exactly who I thought it was going to be. I'm surprised New kept up, but New's a great deck. It's Viscera and New are in first place with 14 wins each. I did the math, kind of leveled it out, and Viscera will hit LL this RTN season. He will not be legal for Pro Tour at this rate. But it doesn't look like any of the other heroes are going to move out. It's just going to be Viscera. Zen, if he keeps up with the same performances he's having now, will not quite squeak out enough points to hit Living Legend.
I mean, he only won like 4 events total, right?
Yep, 4 events, and you only get 3 points per event. We do still have 1,203 points left in the season. So
Yeah, and Viserai is gonna need like 100 and something. Like, isn't he like 895?
yeah, Viserai's gone. There's just if he does what he did this weekend for the next 2 to 3 weekends, he's toast. He'll leave early.
How many more weeks of RTN season do we have?
I think it's mainly 2 weeks, but there are some that I think straggle off into the 4th week. I think there's a couple others. But I think what we're seeing is we do have a lot of heroes that are pretty high up on the list. We have like Azalea, we have Dash, who's not at like 910. But the heroes eating up the points are the ones that weren't picking up like a lot of big event wins and brand new heroes. So new Aurora, Syndra, Arachne Marionette, Prism, they all picked up quite a few points in like the balance of the RTN. Where Enigma picked up some. Enigma could. I don't think she can leave unless she just absolutely flattens the meta. But that would need like Viserai basically to win half of the RTNs next weekend, be gone, and then all the Enigmas come back.
With Syndra, I don't know that that's gonna happen.
That's true.
Is Syndra keeping Enigma kind of under wraps? I mean, have we seen this set be a complete foil, in a sense, to well, I mean, the previous.
Did you get your
being...
Restless Coalescence out with like three or 4 counters on it? Yeah. If you do that, that eats a dagger every turn, so you don't have to worry about the daggers popping your ward. But otherwise, she probably does have a hard time dealing with all the little hits and head jabs coming through.
Yeah.
If we have any Enigma players listening, let us know. Answer the question for me.
Hey, judging by the performance, she's struggling with something, and I'm pretty sure it's mainly Aurora and Viserai. It's the Rune Blades. So another announcement that we got this week is ban and suspended players. I feel like we tried to avoid the subject a little bit last week. We made a joke at the very end. But I think now that LSS has come out and taken their stance, it's pretty safe discussion. Brody Spurlock picked up a 2-month suspension starting yesterday. Just so happens to end the day before Pro Tour for slow play. And I think it's a little harsh, but probably ultimately fair. He's gotten warned about it multiple times over and over again. And it resulted in a very notorious situation with Command and Conquer Pummel that may or may not have happened if the slow play hadn't occurred, the judge hadn't gotten involved, broken the flow of the game.
Brody would have lost that game, wouldn't have won the calling, made a huge difference in the outcome of the tournament. Yeah, and it also prompted the 20 minutes of the 40-minute dev talk that I just listened to right before we started recording, where James and Brian were sitting there talking about the slow play policy and the policy regarding missed triggers. And the TLDR on it is they don't want to change anything because going to where both players are responsible for every trigger would make for a miserable play experience. And based on the way they talked, I'm still 100% in the "in James we trust" category of things. I mean, my stance. These people know what they're talking about.
My stance is, I think you should try to be a good sport and help the game flow correctly by acknowledging triggers. But it is correct, as a player, you should say Command and Conquer on hit, destroy your arsenal. Literally, you're done.
Trigger.
Yeah, once you say that and it hits, you say it has hit, trigger on hit. You don't even have to say trigger on hit, destroy arsenal. You just say trigger on hit. And it is now
just trigger.
The opponent's responsibility to clean up their board state. So I think players should, in a casual setting, get more used to saying those words. That gets them out of that situation. But I think when they looked at this, and I'm sure there's a much greater context, when you include the slow play, that's when I think the problem comes in, right?
Right. Yeah. I think they made it really clear about them more so for the slow play and more so in this idea of, oh, I have these amount of infractions at the beginning of the tournament, so let me go ahead and be kind of like a oops, let me feign ignorance for at least a couple of them, and then when I'm being called out on it, I'll go ahead and straighten up so that I don't receive that sort of finality. And they were like, well, that's kind of weird because it's almost like you're circumventing the policy by knowing, like being conscious of it. And so it's the actual conscious sort of willful disregard that they're trying to curve.
That was more why he got the suspension than the Pummelgate situation.
They said they don't like the
shown
idea.
A pattern of it.
They don't like the idea of a player coming in saying, I could get 2 losses. I start each game with 40 life, and I can get 2 warnings. And they said that's not how we want people to play. The warnings, they won't strictly carry over from event to event, but the greater context of your professional play over your career, maybe in a season, is going to be considered when judging whether your infractions should be handled more severely or not. Which means these people who are going to all these callings and battle hardens, you're going to have to be on your best behavior. You're going to have to play really tight. And since you are going to all these events, you are like you're
like a brand ambassador almost. Do you know what I mean? Like, you're an ambassador. And I listened to the whole thing in the car, and of course I gave like a snap reaction when he was given the whole, this is why we have to keep non-shared responsibility. And I do agree with it. Let me be the first one to tell you, I 100% agree that given the circumstances of this idea of shared responsibility, that there is a way to rule shark on both terms, where you can be like, I hope he misses it, so I can go, judge, my opponent missed my trigger, and then get him in trouble that way. So I understand this idea. You could always just change the policy not to like let a title, but either way, I understand it. I just think it's really sort of like icing on the cake to go, well, we hope you read the Command and Conquer and put your card in the arsenal, but if you don't, it's totally within the rules. And
by
we're
the
okay
way,
with it.
let's not forget that game reversals are a thing.
Yes.
As long as there's not any new significant information, players didn't like draw additional cards and gain new insight before they take an action. Like a reversal could have happened potentially, because I think the opponent drew up, but I don't think Brody had any additional information. I think it was the outside interference thing, right? Where then the judge just said,
judges got scared because of his reputation and because of his high profile in the scene in the community.
But
the judges got intimidated. That's basically what it boils down to.
There was punishment for it. I think the punishment, considering this is a player who goes to almost every event, is quite severe and justified. And I'm excited that he didn't get banned for Pro Tour, because I think he's a great competitor and he should get an opportunity.
Yeah, for sure.
I still have nothing but, respect for him. I'm not going to sit here and bash the guy at all in any aspect of it. And I thought that the statement that he himself put out, that you guys can read if you'd like, was well put. And I think LSS is on the case. I agree. There is no perfect solution for this. Absolutely zero. I just still am a firm believer of I can read the card. And so I'm just going to do what the card says, because that to me is just the way to do it. And
that's how the game's supposed to be played. Let's play the game right.
I get it. It's not within the, it's not against the rules, because, then we go back to this whole
which triggers are your responsibility, which ones are your opponents, which ones is it scummy to not remind your opponent of, like, which ones is it?
This is where I was trying to get with this. I feel like us as a community are so forgiving in majority of the aspects, and obviously so inviting. But I think even at our armory level, I'm not saying, we got to start doing trigger, this. But I
thought about this too. I thought about this too. You're saying that since we play together casually in an armory, we go, yeah, go ahead, take your tune cup and stuff.
Right? Yeah, exactly. We're not subjected, and I'm not saying being cutthroat, but they're coming from an era and from a professional field where, and I've played this Yu-Gi-Oh! Same way, and like it's almost like a different speak. Every card is I'm doing X, and I literally have to stop in response, and unless my opponent says no response, we're on response. But in Flesh and Blood, I've never felt that sort of guarded, because I'm in such a place where everybody's just so happy, like, take it back, and we're on armory, this and that. So maybe, I'm not saying to get cutthroat, maybe we need to put a little bit more rigidity in our practices so that people feel more
Personally,
comfortable
I'm a
announcing
totally
things.
different player when I'm at the calling and battle hardened level. Like, as in,
Right.
like, the way I play the game, announce triggers, call numbers, represent things very strictly.
Right.
Especially when I'm playing heroes like Riptide, who can, like, very easily... Did Noah freeze?
No? You want me to restart my
Yes.
camera?
He's got a weird expression on his face. That's...
Yes, Noah has frozen.
Hopefully he'll come back.
Dang,
But,
right. Yeah.
so my train of thought is that with announcing your triggers, I think we could do better as a community, even in our casual setting. So when someone throws a command and conquer at you and it hits, instead of just throwing your arsenal away, you could literally announce to your opponent, trigger on hit, ? And they go, yeah, acknowledge it. You're actually helping your local train up. I'm not saying do this at a battle hardened or calling. Your opponent should be triggering their on hits. I'm saying in the casual setting, when the command and conquer hits and they don't say anything, you could help them out and be like, trigger on hit, and they'll go, yeah. I think sometimes maybe we sabotage ourselves by playing so casually. Just like if you play Talishar all the time, you're going to forget your tunic counter.
Mm-hmm. Well, Talishar changed that. Now they have, you can set it as an optional trigger on your tunic counter, but
Hold on.
practice doesn't make perfect.
We've now hit like almost 60 seconds and still got this ridiculous expression on screen.
Oh no.
So,
But yeah, like I was saying, practice doesn't make perfect. Perfect practice makes perfect. So the way you practice is the way you perform.
oh, okay.
And
now
Noah's
he's gone.
just left, so he's gonna be
and the
he's gonna
video's
be
all
rejoining in a
scrambled.
second. No.
So we'll cut. We'll do a cut.
Do you remember what you were talking about?
Oh, I know. Well, I told you we kind of finished up the conversation.
All right.
We're gonna make fun of like you being all frozen in the corner.
Okay.
And I'll either put a high amount or a very low amount of effort into transitioning into having a fourth person with us in the rest of the podcast.
Through the magic of television,
Just
Justin
let
has
us
joined
know
the podcast.
When we're live, we'll figure it out.
So yeah, Noah had technical difficulties, so he took a day off.
And I'm back.
That way he could be back, and Justin's able to join us as we talk about pirates.
What?
Pirates.
What happened with pirates?
They're gonna be pirates in Flesh and Blood.
Supposedly.
I think James is trolling, but
Yeah.
that's just me.
So, listen. All right, go ahead. You first.
Okay.
I have some thoughts.
Like I said the other day, I started to say that James White isn't a troll. He wouldn't do that to us. But then I got to thinking, and I thought about how he introduced bright lights back at Pro Tour Baltimore. And James White is absolutely a troll. So yes, that is a distinct possibility. It could actually be a pirate class. It could be a pirate talent, or it could just be more ranger shenanigans. Cosplaying as pirates.
Or it could be just like literally not even a pirate class. We just get like a new Riptide that's like Riptide, Pirate of the Seas, and he's like, look, technically pirates.
Listen, the only art asset we have right now is the backside of a ship, a pirate ship. So clearly we're getting pirates. But like, does that just mean
there's
that
also
like
Shelter from the Storm and some of the other tidbits that they scattered
sigil
throughout the
overlay, cut through the facade.
cut through the facade?
Yeah.
Yeah, all
Trench
that
of
kind of
Sunken
stuff.
Treasure.
Yeah, but like, I mean, do you need to be a pirate class to be a pirate? Like, could you just be like a mechanologist that happens to like chill on the high seas and now just be cool with man? Like you're a pirate.
I mean, you technically could, but I don't see pirates being a talent. I really think it's going to be a class. I think pirates is going to be one of the classes in the set.
I would like to bring up that there was a 30-second leak of an article on the FAB TCG website, and people said, hey, don't really buy too much into it because it wasn't officially released and there's nothing backing it up. And now with the announcement of High Seas, there is something kind of backing up that article that was mentioning pirates and stuff, right? And I think that,
Mhm.
yeah, you can go find it. I think it was someone posted about it on the Reddit. The notable thing is they talked about a new pitch color.
Oh, the green pitch.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
Is that implying a new talent? Or are we getting just cards that could only be played with green pitch, similar to cards that could only be played with mystic pitch, chi?
Yeah, like the chi or something. It'll be something to that effect. Just like maybe not have to do the transcend quest, but like small cantrippy upside with green pitched things.
What do you have
Or
to
like
talk
you
like
could-
a pirate while you do it?
What
I'm in.
what if it's an addition to the chaos mechanic and they're going to be chaos pirates so we can get some more chaos cards?
Listen, all right, if you're doing that, I got a better
Pirates
theory.
are chaotic.
That just means
No,
there's going to actually be more assassins.
Yeah, I was about to
We
say,
don't-
okay, so have we all played Assassin's Creed 4? Which is the one where an assassin goes on a pirate ship. So
Mhm.
clearly assassins belong on the sea, so we have to have another assassin. And
don't-
then like what's a pirate's main weapon? A gun or a scimitar, right? Like the swords, right?
Uh-huh.
And we already have sabers. That's another one. And sabers are already a warrior thing. So we're going to get another warrior,
Mm-hmm.
right? And like, do you remember growing up in the early 2000s-ish when the internet was just becoming a thing and it was always pirates versus ninjas? And now we literally have a set that could just be pirates versus ninjas.
Pirates
So
use
we need
daggers
to
all the
have-
time.
Yeah, exactly. So let's just run back warrior, ninja, assassin. And the assassin's the pirate.
That has to
I'm-
be like.
No.
By the way,
there's
if you
no way.
asked me,
Mhm.
like with no context of anything that's happened in Flesh and Blood, I would say warrior, ranger, assassin. Ninja's not a far off, but if you ask me to no context, I would think warrior, ranger, assassin would be the three classes in a pirate set.
I think if we get another round of assassins immediately after the hunted, people are gonna riot.
Me, I'm people.
Yeah, I'm gonna.
I'm people.
Assassins are already good. If we get more assassin support before we get any more ranger support, people are going to go for Brian Gottlieb's head.
As much as I hate rangers, we do need some ranger love. And as much as mechs
Please,
just
God.
don't interest me, like a cannoneer who's like a gun nut,
Oh, that'd be cool.
explosive pirate guy would be really cool as a mech. Just don't make him boost. Like give him a different mechanic. Like he's loading up his different like super unstable item gun weapons and they just like hit really hard or something. I don't know. That'd be cool.
What was the set? I think a couple of it was. We were talking about they were unveiling the sets. One of them was like the hunted, and I think you said James White was in particular really excited about one set. It wasn't the current set that was coming out? Wasn't even the next set, but it was like, oh, that set. Like you guys are gonna. Is that High Seas or is that the next one?
It was High Seas. High Seas is the one that
Okay.
he was like, this next set, this one's a banger.
okay.
Yeah,
Okay. What if?
Yeah, they
It's-
didn't expect Hunted to be this hype.
Apparently not,
I mean, it's-
because Hunted
it's-
is
Well,
awesome.
straight up, they've said it.
It's great cards.
Because
They're just like, oh, we didn't expect this.
You remember when it first got announced? I was just like kind of Debbie Downing the Draconic stuff, but I think they did a good job, like making Draconic a compelling mechanic in this set.
Compelling enough to play Sintra.
And
those
Mark.
big
I
wide
think-
turns.
I think Mark
Mark
is
is
one of the
actually
one of the
interesting.
most solid mechanics that they've developed. Like how
It's a good-
simple it is. It's easy to
Yeah.
represent. You're not flipping cards around. Like
No, I hate moving that stupid token on and off the board. It drives me nuts, man.
so.
Which is, that's his own issue.
I was helping my friend make some clear tokens that can go on top of
Yeah.
your hero with your mark, so that it doesn't like obscure the whole hero. But you're right, putting a token on top of your hero is a little weird, but it's like any other thing. It's like getting frailty on you,
It's
right?
recoverable, but like I'm probably not playing that, but it's fine. So yeah, but no, so Pirates, there's gonna be stuff. The green pitch thing is probably gonna
Mhm.
happen. What does it do? Who knows? They figure out new crazy things to do all the time. That's just what they do.
Can we get Brute Pirates? We need a new
Can
Brute
we-
set.
That's my guess. My guess is going
I
to
kn-
be pirates, brutes, and then something else. I'm not sure about the something else, but brutes, I feel
fits, right?
Are good tavern brawlers. I mean, just like Guardians.
If they don't put Riptide in the set, I am actually going to riot.
There will be Riptide cards, if not an additional Riptide. I mean, they might remake,
dude,
but I don't.
If they give me one expansion slot card, I'm also going to riot. Like, I want Riptide. I want Ranger to get actual cards.
Well, Ranger will get stuff.
I think
like
Ranger
this
will
is
get real cards.
This is a real Ranger set. I also think.
Pirates.
Could you imagine?
Almost givens.
Could you imagine if they just give a Ranger like a one-shot pistol or something like that?
I mean, they'll probably bring like a cannoneer or something like that. Like
I mean, that actually sounds like the other thing that they've hinted with the art, mechanologist.
Yeah, I'm in on like the mech thing happening here.
I
know that a lot of the I know a lot of the steampunk stuff is like powered by the ground in metrics, but surely there's something they can do there to make it work. They're not the only ones with, like, they can figure out gunpowder, and that's a real thing.
Maybe they just put Tech Levostin in a box and threw him into the ship. He's like the granddaddy mech guy now, right?
Or just, I don't know, give a dude like a blunderbuss or something. Like give him a cool weapon that's like super old school. It's just gunpowder and flint.
You know what?
And cannons.
I want Pirate Lexi.
Pirate Lexi?
Like, hell no.
Please no.
Hell nah.
No, remember, we're okay with Lexi. We're not okay with Voltaire. No one's saying bring back Pirate Voltaire. Lexi was fine. Lexi did nothing wrong. Voltaire was an abomination.
So
that's almost fair.
I can't distinguish the two from each other.
Yeah, that's exactly right.
You would need to figure out, okay, if you're wanting to play New Horizons and do 6-card hand stuff, that is interesting, but for the love of God, don't give me Arrows Would Go again. Like, that's not okay.
I just want Lexi wearing a pirate hat and with tattoos. Lexi would look cool with tattoos.
You take my Arya people and you leave them alone. They are nice. They are wonderful in their forest with their trees and ice cubes, and that's all they need.
Well, they're in Solana right now, away from all of that. That's why we're not going to get it. There's no lore way that we're going to sneak Lexi onto a boat.
I don't know.
Unless we finally get a hero in an expansion slot.
I mean, this has to be an Outsiders-esque set. Like, they're pirates. They come from afar. Outsiders is more like, this has to be an outside Solana, outside the box kind of a set. So it's going to be grungy. It's going to have a ranger. It might have brutes.
It's going to have assassins and ninjas in it?
I hope not. I mean, I just don't think it needs enough. It just doesn't need the support. It just, brute does. But I think if it's not this set, it's the next set that needs to be brute focused. Like, we definitely need to get to the Savage Lands at some point.
I think the Mechanologist makes sense because Riptide exists, and didn't he grow up on like the docks around the skirts of the pit, and the pits are supposedly under Metrics, right?
Yeah.
So does that mean Metrics is like on the coast?
It is, if I recall correctly. Look it up.
Our intro is a map of rape. Just
right.
Throw the
go to the intro.
Just throw the intro up real quick.
No.
Pause it on that map. Figure it out.
Just making sure before I just say yes or no.
No. I don't know. It's just been what, Bright? Is Mech the last one to get support, or is it Ranger? The last Ranger is Riptide, right? And Outsiders came just before Bright Lights.
Mm-hmm.
So that's our last two heroes that haven't been supported.
Yeah,
Metrics is on the coast, kind of.
Does anybody give any credence that there's actually going to be a new class?
There might
I think there is.
Man, I'm tired of new heroes. I'll tell you that much. There's too many.
Well, new class, not just a new hero, but a whole new class.
We could get a legitimate merchant. He plays like some weird guardian or something. Merchant could be a class that fits with pirate theme. Or gold is the payoff.
You literally have all the coin tokens already, so you could just use those and reiterate on them.
No wonder silver palms have been selling. I'm telling you, people are speculating. They might be speculating for a trader.
Oh, they definitely are. As soon as you said silver palms are selling, people are speculating that we're getting like a CC playable merchant.
Or
that'd be wild.
That'd be weird.
Like ghost, like maybe this, because there's like so many different directions you could go with pirates, right? Like you could do like the classical, just like pirate ship where like you have your normal crew. You could literally do the the Black Pearl. What was that one? Pirates of the Caribbean. So you have like the undead pirate crew. So now
Shadow
we have
Pirates.
Necromancer. Yeah, you could just have like Davy Jones. That's the one, right, where he has his undead pirate crew. So you could like go in that direction. You could go like more like Asian terrorizing. What was it? The Indian Sea Pirates, where it's like super. That would be like the more mech look to me, because that's whenever gunpowder and on ships really became a thing. So there's like a lot of directions that you could go with this theme that isn't just a straight up like very normal pirate theme.
Just wonder if there's going to be any One Piece references in there.
Oh God, please no.
Why? There's nothing wrong with One Piece.
Maybe
Because I don't understand them. I don't
Okay.
watch the show.
the only
Appreciate
reference
it.
we're
It's
gonna
peak.
get is a scarcity of product, perhaps like One Piece
Oh,
had.
no.
That's the reference to it. I'm sorry, Ellis. I'm
Aren't we
gonna take
already
the
dealing
shots,
with
but
scarcity of product? I mean,
Yeah.
the hunted is
I
already
will-
sketchy.
Shout out them and out like like covering that in the dev talk thing.
Yeah.
They're like, hey, there was a supply chain issue and that they were trying to address it for high seas, because goodness, we need it.
Yeah, we
With
talked
us
about
having
it. We talked about it earlier in the episode, how they're changing their policy on
Yeah.
pre-release and how much product they have available, and they're going to make it where it's not super painful to come to US Nats on the
We're
day
gonna-
of release, because they're going
In
to
theory.
double up. In theory, they said their metric was, and like I said, we talked about it earlier in the episode, but to just kind of reiterate, their metric was 1 case per store per pre-release kit they had, and they want to move that up to 2 cases at least.
Yeah.
And encourage stores to offer drafts of the high seas the
Said it
weekend
bluntly.
it comes out.
Please do drafts.
Yeah.
Yes, we're literally going to do sealed on Friday night, and then the Saturday and the Sunday ones we're just going to draft.
Yep. Or if you come in and you start your pre-release like at 11 a.m. on Saturday, as soon as you get done with the
Yep.
pre-release, you just immediately go straight into a draft.
Run it back and do a draft. Yep.
I think they even said that if you want to, you could do draft for the pre-release.
Yep. You can.
So,
So
That's
we'll see
all
what ends up
exciting. I
happening.
love the flexibility. I'm super excited for the high seas. Pirates are cool.
I don't know, it's not my favorite theme, but it's going to be some interesting mechanics. And if there is like some just like drunk ass mech who just makes shit blow up all the time, I'm in. Like, I'll probably play him because that's or her or it, because that's funny.
Yeah.
All right. If pirates weren't like your childhood theme that you latched onto, what was it? Was it dinosaurs?
No, I was the nature nerd. Like, I just wanted to go out in the woods and play with my tree, like play in the trees and all that. I went
Okay.
camping all the time.
So,
So that's why like Aria has like hit really with home with me.
Savage Lands is coming for you.
I
Wrong
was-
direction, but that's close enough, I guess.
I was definitely more samurais and things like that, because Dynasty Warriors was like a huge thing. Even though it's not samurais, it is more warrior focused. So definitely like warrior focused, samurai more artistic fighting.
And then the Volcor, then Hunted did it for you, right? Because there's a lot of
I mean,
cool...
Ira is still what I want. I just want the Ira Marvel, which, good luck me. But I still do want to play Ira. I still think Ira is probably one of the best decks that kind of define the way I want to play. Like, if I want to play aggressive, I think there's better decks, but to play like a full value centric game plan and like have a good back and forth, Ira is just so much fun. I mean, it's Fab fundamentals one, and it feels so good to squeak that value out over time.
Okay. So I just want to make sure we got together and discussed High Seas since it came out. We missed it on Monday when Noah winked out on us. Did anything else come up? I don't think anything else has come up in a couple days.
I mean, prices are probably through the roof still, but that's for another time.
Yeah,
Really anything new? Just people talking about RTN results again. That's been the talk since Monday, basically.
Did anybody LL?
No.
No.
No one's gonna
But
LL
Vis-
this season.
Viscerai is on track. Viscerai
Is he?
is on track. But
He's gonna briar this thing. I'm willing it into existence.
all right. Well, if no one has anything else, we could wrap it up. I don't even know who did the intro now. Now that we've like spaced that apart. Okay. So
It
Noah.
It was me, meaning I have to be the one to wrap it up. But that's
Yeah.
okay, because I'm also the one that messed it up to begin with. So, starting with Justin, where can everybody find you?
Twitter is J_EVS5 and everything else is Jevzo5.
Thomas?
You can find me at What the System Fab on Twitter and at What the System everywhere else.
Donnie?
Draco Hominis 87 everywhere social media is sold. I think my Slippy article is coming out tomorrow.
Ooh, Slippy.
We are
we
recording
worked
on
on that
Wednesday after going back through things, and it didn't post at the time I thought it was. So now I'm assuming it's going to be my next scheduled article, which is coming out tomorrow, because my editor hasn't said anything to me. So I'm assuming it's tomorrow. I'm hoping. Otherwise, I'm just gonna get in trouble for not writing one this week. But we'll figure that out when it happens. But
Is
if
this
you're interested
Slippy?
in Slippy on a budget,
Slippy and $100 or less.
it was before we realized that Hunter's Clave is expensive as. So it's a little over now.
Just a little.
It's still under 200, but yeah, it's
I feel like that is
the budget's
an
not
achievement.
as good.
That's an achievement for Assassin, especially when your weapons
Honestly,
start you out at $112.
Honestly,
say-
I think it's a good deck. I honestly think it's a pretty good
Oh
list.
yeah, we were like, oh, it's actually kind of cooking.
Yeah.
So
I will if you're interested, check it out. Otherwise, Blue Sky, Twitter, Discord, hit me up, Draco Hominis 87, anywhere you want to talk. I'm open. My DMs are open. What were you saying, Justin?
Mark of the Huntsman's not that bad.
Yeah.
And it's a token. But anyways, sorry.
I'm at Big Max Fab on Twitter, at Big Max on Blue Sky, Big Max on Discord. You'll see my hands opening packs on the YouTube. We need to do some more stuff on YouTube. Always say it, but I just can't bring myself to open Pokemon on a Flesh and Blood stream. Trust me, I want to, but it just doesn't fit. So we'll have to figure something out. Other than that, though, if Ranger's coming out, get your Codex of Frailties and Remorselessness. They're going through the roof. But we'll talk about that next week. But I'm telling you, if you don't have them, here's your wake-up call. Other than that, thanks for joining us, everybody. And again on Wednesday to re-record. We hope you enjoyed catching up with us this week. And if you did, subscribe or follow, depending upon where you found us, to catch us again next time. Until then, take care of yourselves. And remember, we are all siblings in cardboard. And I won't do anything too crazy. Just read your cards. You heard the dev talk. You should put that card. Yeah, if you didn't, go watch it. But you should read that card and put it in the grave.